Hi everyone, I'm Scott. This is my channel CineRam, and I'm here to talk about new movies that are coming up in the new year 2023. I do this every year, and although I didn't make a whole lot of videos last year, I did make one last year on the movies I was looking forward to in 2022. Just a little update on that. I've seen all of them except for Apollo 10 and a half. I only got about halfway through that, and The Killer, which hasn't come out yet. It's due to maybe come out this year, we'll see. More on that in a little bit. I actually recorded this video earlier this week, but I only got about halfway through it, and I ran out of space in the data. No more room, so I put all the videos that I had in the trash, and then I started to record again today, and it's like, sorry, no more room. I'm like, what? But they're in the trash. Oh, they need to get rid of from the trash. Right, because they're still taking up space. Anyway, so, like I said, 2023, new year, bunch of stuff to look forward to. Let's start with some sequels. DC is putting out 4 movies this year. The one I'm most looking forward to is Shazam, the new Shazam movie. I really liked the Shazam movie from 2018. It was a lot of fun, satisfying ending, unlike a lot of the DC movies that have come out. David Sandberg, the director, is back. The main cast is back. Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu are joining. They might be villains, I'm not really sure, but yeah, should be a good time. Creed 3 has Michael B. Jordan and Tessa Thompson returning. I didn't see Creed 2, but I did see the first one, so I'm going to have to get caught up on Creed 2 before this one comes out. Now, Creed, Adonis Creed, his character, is squaring off against a former childhood friend played by Jonathan Majors, and this is also Michael B. Jordan's directorial debut, and that's very exciting. Dune Part 2, Denis Villeneuve directed, of course, the first Dune movie, which was an adaptation of the first half of the novel. This will cover the second half. I like Dune, Part 1, but, you know, I kind of wish that they'd managed to do, like, the whole movie in one go, the whole story in one go. Whatever, they want to be thorough. Anyway, the Denis Villeneuve, is back directing the second half. The survivors of the first half, they're back. And we've also got Florence Pugh, Christopher Walken, Austin Butler, and Léa Seydoux. They're joining the cast. That's very exciting. Dune's a beautiful movie, for sure. So if anything, it's going to look great. We know that much. Equalizer 3. Equalizer, the original with Denzel Washington's movie that I like very much. And Antoine Fuqua is back directing, and Denzel Washington is back, and he's joined by Dakota Fanning, his co-star from Man on Fire 19 years earlier when she was just a little girl. So Dakota and Denzel back together again, that's reason enough for me to see it. That'll be fun. We have the new Indiana Jones movie, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, not directed by Steven Spielberg. James Mangold is directing, and he of course did Logan and Ford vs. Ferrari and 3:10 to Yuma with Russell Crowe and Kate and Leopold, a comedy that I like very much. So that's points in his favor. I like James Mangold very much. He's a very solid director, always makes a good film. Hopefully the special effects in the trailer will be improved before the movie comes out. Harrison Ford, of course, is back. John Rhys-Davies is playing Sala again. He was in the first and third Indiana Jones movies. Great to see him again. Also Antonio Banderas and Phoebe Waller-Bridge. And the dude who played the villain with the mechanical arm from Logan, he's also in it as well. Let's see. Magic Mike's Last Dance. This is the third Magic Mike movie. Soderbergh is back directing. And although I love Soderbergh, I'm not crazy about the Magic Mike movies just because of the subject matter. Don't really care that much about male strippers. But anything that Soderbergh does, I'm up for. Let's see. Channing Tatum is back. Salma Hayek is joining. I'm not sure who else is in the cast. But yeah, Soderbergh's definitely on my list as usual. Let's see, as far as that goes, yeah, that's what we have as far as sequels, at least the ones that aren't in my top 10. There's a couple of filmmakers who might have 2 movies coming out this year. Wes Anderson definitely has Asteroid City going to be coming out this year. He's also making a film called The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar. Might not come out this year, but I suppose it's possible. Wes Anderson's always a really interesting director, just visually. He has a great cast of people who are in practically every movie that he makes, and a lot of them are rejoining him for these 2 movies. In addition, we've got Tom Hanks, Margot Robbie, and Bryan Cranston in Asteroid City, and Henry Sugar has Benedict Cumberbatch, Ben Kingsley, and Dev Patel. Also, Yorgos Lanthimos has got potentially 2 movies coming out this year. They are called and the other one is called Poor Things, and they both star Emma Stone and Margaret Qualley. I really like The Lobster and The Favourite. Those are both really good movies. They made my top 5 for each of their years. So that's exciting. And as far as just other movies that I'm looking forward to, runners-up, I guess you could say, honorable mentions. Alex Garland, who directed Ex Machina and Annihilation with Natalie Portman, has a movie called Civil War, starring Kirsten Dunst. Anna Kendrick is making her directorial debut with a film called The Dating Game. We have Ferrari, not Ford versus Ferrari, but a movie just about Ferrari. This one's directed by Michael Mann, who did Heat and Last of the Mohicans and Public Enemies, and hopefully he has better digital cameras than in the past, because a lot of his more recent movies shot digitally don't look all that good. But never count him out. Adam Driver and Shailene Woodley are in that film. Horizon, Kevin Costner is starring and directing a new Western, along with starring in his show Yellowstone. It's called Horizon. He's got a huge cast, including Luke Wilson, Michael Rooker, Sienna Miller, and Will Patton, who's in practically half of Kevin Costner's movies and shows. So that's something to look forward to. One sequel that I forgot was Maxine. Maxine is the third in a series of horror movies directed by Ty West. The first 2 were released last year. They were X and Pearl. They star Mia Goth, and Mia Goth will be reprising her character from the first movie, X. Maxine, yes. Megalopolis, I think I'm pronouncing that right. This is Francis Ford Coppola's epic new movie. Apparently it takes place in the future, where New York City has been destroyed, and this is about rebuilding New York City in the future. Huge cast in this one, including Lawrence Fishburne, Forrest Whitaker, Giancarlo Esposito, Dustin Hoffman. The always interesting Aubrey Plaza is in it. Read a little bit about this recently. They might be having some trouble with the crew, hiring new people, getting rid of old people. It might not even come out this year. Who knows? It might not be done, but it might. We'll see. And we have The Toxic Avenger, which is a big budget remake of the classic exploitation horror movie. I've never actually seen the original, so I might have to get caught up on that. But the new one stars Peter Dinklage, and from what I understand, it's about a janitor who gets exposed to radioactive material and mutates and becomes a superhero, a really, really ugly superhero. And Peter Dinklage is playing the main character. Also Kevin Bacon and Elijah Wood are in it. The director is Macon Blair, who I'm not familiar with. And then there's Christopher Landon. Christopher Landon did the Happy Death Day movies, and he's got a new film called We Have a Ghost. And I don't know if this is a comedy or not. It could be, given the cast. We've got Anthony Mackie, Tig Notaro, David Harbour, and Jennifer Coolidge. So it could be comedic, could be horror comedic, could be straight horror, who knows. Anyway, those are my honorable mentions. And now I'd like to use my index cards, usual index cards for my top 10 most anticipated movies of the year. Coming out in just 1 month, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, the Marvel movie that I'm most looking forward to this year, because primarily it has Jonathan Majors playing Kang. Kang is the character that I've read a lot about in the comics history. He's a really, really interesting character. He's going to be the villain in the next Avengers movie, which is coming out in about 2.5 years, called Avengers Kang Dynasty. He'll probably make appearances in the new Loki season and maybe some other Marvel movies before then. But what we know for sure is he's somebody who Paul Rudd and Evangeline Lilly has to deal with in the new Ant-Man movie, so that's really exciting. Bill Murray, William Jackson Harper from The Good Place, and they're all in it as well. Very excited about all Marvel movies, of course, and there's 3 of them coming out this year, but that one especially. Gonzo Girl. Gonzo Girl is the directorial debut of Patricia Arquette. I'm a longtime Patricia Arquette fan, ever since True Romance. She stars in it alongside Willem Dafoe. Don't know anything about the story, but could be good. It's exciting to see her direct a film. Now here's a guy we haven't seen in quite a while here in the States. Silent Night is directed by John Woo. The great John Woo, the Hong Kong action director, came to the States to direct Hard Target and Broken Arrow and Face Off and Mission Impossible 2, and then he made a couple of duds, so he went back to the Far East to make movies back there. He's back making an American film, but here's the thing, there's no dialogue in it. It's a completely dialogue-free movie. This is what I've read, anyway. Joel Kinnaman plays the main character. Presumably it's an action thriller. It's not silence, we'll hear the gunshots, I think, but nobody does any talking. It's all nonverbal, so that's pretty cool. John Woo back doing American movies. That's really something. Now here's a movie that I think a lot of people are really excited about. Barbie! Yeah, the Barbie movie. No, I wouldn't have been interested in this movie under different circumstances, but Greta Gerwig is directing, and she has co-written the script with Noah Baumbach. And from what I've read, the script is outstanding. A lot of people love it. I'm just like, really? Is this going to be a Brady Bunch type thing where Barbie ventures from her like dream house in her fantasy pink world and goes into the real world and interacts with like regular folks, something like that? Could be. We'll see. Got a pretty big cast. It's exciting, and that new teaser that came out a few weeks back is very choice. Leave the World Behind. Now, Leave the World Behind is kind of unusual. I'm just trying to figure out the best place to hold these cards up here. Sam Esmail is the writer-director of this movie. He did a movie some years back called Comet with Justin Long and Emmy Rossum, but he's best known for being the creator of Mr. Robot, a really, really great TV series. He's got a very sort of odd visual style, kind of like Wes Anderson. I mean, not exactly like him, but very distinctive in the way he frames shots, you know. So Julia Roberts, Kevin Bacon, Mahershala Ali, and Ethan Hawke are in this movie. Have no idea what it's about, know nothing about this movie other than who's involved, but Sam Esmail is enough for me to go, yeah, I want to see that. Now here's a movie that got a teaser very recently. Beau Is Afraid, the new film from Ari Aster, who did Hereditary and Midsommar. This one looks to be more comedic, but it's probably still horrifying as well. Joaquin Phoenix is the main character in this. He's a guy who encounters a lot of surreal troublemakers. Are they in his head? Are they real? Who knows? Nathan Lane, Amy Ryan, Parker Posey, and Richard Kind are all in this movie, as you've probably already seen if you watch the trailer. It's a really good trailer if you want to check that out. Beau Is Afraid, yeah, that looks really good. Christopher Nolan is back. Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer is Christopher Nolan's latest film. His last film, of course, was Tenet. Aside from Tenet and his first film, Following, I've seen all of his films in the theater. And I plan on seeing this one, of course, as well. So Robert J. Oppenheimer was one of the scientists that developed the first atomic bomb for the American military. It was called the Manhattan Project at that time. We have Cillian Murphy, who, of course, has appeared in a number of Christopher Nolan movies, playing Oppenheimer. Matt Damon from Interstellar, Kenneth Branagh, who is in Dunkirk and Tenet. Robert Downey Jr., Emily Blunt, and Rami Malek are all in this movie. Christopher Nolan films are always a must-see for me. Now, this is an unusual one. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Yes, that's what that's supposed to mean. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. I don't love that title. I wish they'd just call it Dead Reckoning and named the follow-up movie a year later something different like Infinity War and Endgame. But no, they're going with this. So I'm like, okay, whatever. It's still going to be fun. It's going to be a fun movie. You probably already watched the video of Tom Cruise practicing his cliff jump. Very, very exciting video. And you know, all these movies are exciting. They're really lots of fun. Kind of my ideal franchise, just as far as just the elements, the things that make it up. So the main cast from the previous movies, Rebecca Ferguson, Simon Pegg, Ving Rhames, and of course Tom Cruise are all back for this movie, in addition to Haley Atwell, aka Peggy Carter, and Nicholas Hoult, aka Hank McCoy. They're joining the cast, and the follow-up, of course, is a year later. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 2, which will be the 8th movie in the series. Interesting point about those, similar to the Harry Potter franchise, we have different directors for the first 4 movies, but the same director directing all 4 of the second half, films 5 through 8. Harry Potter did that, and then Christopher McQuarrie did that. Hopefully, Christopher McQuarrie will not go on to do a spin-off of Mission Impossible movies after this one with diminishing returns like the Fantastic Beasts movies. That would be disappointing. Guess who else is back? Martin Scorsese. Yes, Martin Scorsese is directing a film for Apple Plus, which I don't love because I'm not crazy about Apple Plus as a streaming service. They don't have anything other than original content. But since this is Scorsese, this movie will probably get a theatrical release as well, just like they did with Coda, their Best Picture winner. Martin Scorsese, is a director I've loved for a very long time. Is one of the best ever. And this movie teams him up with Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro, both of whom have been in several of his films in the past. So that's exciting. This is adapted from a nonfiction book by David Gran, I think it's about a serial killer, serial killer from like, decades earlier. I'm not really sure. Brendan Fraser and John Lithgow are in this movie. Anyway, it doesn't matter who's in it. It's Scorsese. I'm seeing it. I'm absolutely seeing it. I went to see Kundun. I didn't know anyone in that cast, but I went to see it just because it was Scorsese. Finally, I mentioned The Killer earlier. I felt like it could have come out last year, a year ago, but it didn't. It should come out this year. It's a Netflix movie, and it is directed by my favorite director, David Fincher. He is top of my list every single time, pretty much. This is adapted from a French graphic novel series by Alexis Nolent. Hope I'm pronouncing that somewhat correctly. Michael Fassbender is the main character. He is a professional assassin who is experiencing some kind of a crisis. Kind of vague on that. Tilda Swinton, who was in Fincher's film The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, she's in that as well. The Killer, of course, is also the name of a John Woo movie from the late 80s, early 90s. Kind of an introduction for a lot of us to John Woo, but this is, of course, a completely different story. It is about an assassin, though, just like The Killer is. David Fincher, gotta love it. Gotta love David Fincher. That is my video. That is my top 10 most anticipated films for 2023, plus lots and lots of honorable mentions. I just wanted to acknowledge Brandon Loves Movies. He is a reaction channel, and he did a video, super long video with lots and lots of titles mentioned, which helped me with my research. I looked up a lot of movies because of the video that he did. I've seen a couple other most anticipated film videos as well, but of course had to do my own. I do one every year, and so thank you very much for watching. And I'll make another video pretty soon, so enjoy that. Thanks again for watching. Oh, and if you want to keep up with current videos that I'm doing, I don't do them super frequently, but I do them regularly. The place to find them, the best place to find them would be my Facebook page, where I share them instead of the subscription inbox on YouTube, because the low view count videos don't always show up in the subscription box, so I'm told. Thank you very much for watching. Take it easy. See you next time.